Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from the United States, and we're going to talk about Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary for the United States. This is him right here on the screen for you. So, new report: Pete Hegseth calls on Pentagon to prepare for defense budget cuts. Defense Secretary ordered the Pentagon to develop a 5-year budget plan that would slash defense spending by 8% annually, a cut which could reshape military strength and readiness. Okay, this is a very big report. We've been seeing a lot of information coming out regarding the U.S. military and also with Russia. Although many people would think that Russia is a major threat to Europe and to the entire world, we're seeing a lot of different things going on right now with talks between the Ukraine war and that the U.S. is going to be building relations with Russia. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to be slashing their defense budget. So, very interesting. If all these threats are, being posed all over the world with Russia and China and North Korea and whatnot, why would the U.S. be slashing their defense budget? Well, I mean, we do know that Donald Trump has come out many times. He has a lot of plans to cut lots of wasteful spending within the government. We've already been seeing a lot of that recently coming out on X. Some things I talked to you guys about here on the channel as well. So we're going to go over this report here real quick and talk about this. And I've got a few things on X I want to talk to you guys about as well. So we're going to jump on over here to The Guardian. It says Trump administration reportedly orders Pentagon to plan for sweeping defense budget cuts. Okay, and it says here, Hegseth orders senior leaders at the Pentagon to develop plans to cut 8% of the defense budget in each of the next 5 years, the Washington Post reports. So real quick, I wonder, does this mean 8% every single year? You guys can let me know, but I think it means 8% more every year. So by the time the 5 years is up, would we see potentially up to 40% of the defense budget being cut at the end of this plan? You guys can let me know, but I think that's what that means down below. So here's that update for you. This just coming out today, and it says Trump administration orders Pentagon to plan for sweeping budget cuts. According to report, the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered senior leaders at the Pentagon and throughout the U.S. military to develop plans for cutting 8% from the defense budget in each of the next 5 years, according to a memo obtained by the Washington Post. So here's Pete Hegseth right here, and it says Hegseth ordered the proposed cuts to be drawn up by the 24th of February, according to the memo, which includes a list of 17 categories that the Trump administration wants exempted, among them operations at the southern U.S. border, modernization of nuclear weapons and missile defense, and acquisition of one-way attack drones and other munitions. If adopted in full, the proposed cuts would include tens of billions of dollars in each of the next 5 years. Yeah, I think right now, according to this, I think we're somewhere around 880 billion per year that the U.S. is spending on defense. So if that were to be about 8%, I think if I'm correct, somewhere around 70 billion in the first year. So that's a pretty significant cut. According to the Post, the memo calls for continued support agency funding for several major regional headquarters, including Indo-Pacific Command, Northern Command, and Space Command. Notably absent from that list is European Command, which has had a leading role in executing U.S. strategy during the war in Ukraine, Central Command, which oversees operations in the Middle East, and Africa Command, which manages the several thousand troops the Pentagon has spread across that continent. President Trump's charge to Department of Defense is clear: achieve peace through strength, Hegseth wrote in the memo dated Tuesday. The time for preparation is over. We must act urgently to revive the warrior ethos, rebuild our military, and reestablish deterrence. Our budget will resource the fighting force we need, seize unnecessary defense spending, reject excessive bureaucracy, and drive actionable reform, including progress on the audit. Okay, so to me, it kind of looks like, kind of what the U.S. administration has been doing right now, which is just dropping a lot of unnecessary spending inside of the government. I think that's what they're trying to focus on, but it's just interesting that they're going after the defense budget here, and they're going to be dropping it by quite a bit. Okay, so let's jump on over to X now. Got a couple things I wanted to show you. This actually came out today. This is from Megatron Ron breaking. U.S.-Russia peace negotiations include discussions on withdrawing from or not deploying U.S. troops in countries that joined NATO after 1990. Okay, so many new countries that joined after 1990, there's a potential here that with the peace negotiations going on with Ukraine right now, if they come to some sort of agreement, the U.S. might withdraw all their troops from any countries that joined after 1990. And is this a large part of this? Is it because Ukraine was going to join NATO? Is that a large reason why Russia went into Ukraine? There was a lot of talk about that just prior to the war beginning. And we know that Russia does not want Ukraine into NATO, and I'm sure they're unhappy that the fact that Finland had joined as well. Finland and Sweden being very close to Russia as well, and then there's the Baltic nations, obviously right next to Russia also. So looks like if they do work out some sort of peace negotiation settlement, the U.S. may withdraw from a lot of countries on the eastern side of Europe, okay, that are NATO members right now. So that could be very big also, and could leave many of these NATO nations undefended by U.S. troops. Now, for Megatron Ron New, the U.S. may withdraw its troops from the Baltic countries amid negotiations with Russia, Financial Times writes, citing unnamed officials. Okay, this actually came out a couple days ago, and I believe I brought this up with you guys. So, even Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, as I mentioned, right here on the border, at least Latvia and Estonia on the border with Russia, we may see U.S. troops withdraw amid these negotiations also. Okay, so we're starting to see United States pull away from Russia, take the pressure off of Russia. That way, maybe Russia doesn't feel like they need to attack. Is that a strategic move to maybe prevent a war with Russia? You guys can let me know. Or does this leave European nations, especially NATO nations that are right on the border with Russia, does it leave them at risk of being attacked? I guess there's a two-sided story to that, but you guys can explain down below what you think regarding that. Now, finally, one last thing from ViceGrad24. Breaking. Putin announces Russia and the USA have formally agreed to reestablish diplomatic ties. The countries never completely broke off diplomatic ties after the invasion, but they were severely degraded, with diplomats expelled on both sides and cooperative frameworks suspended. Okay, so as you can see here, what we're starting to see move forward is the U.S. and Russia are going to be partnering up more in the future, is what it seems like, at least under the Trump administration. I'm curious to see how things will unfold with China, because we know things are very tense with China, Taiwan, that whole situation over there with China potentially invading Taiwan, even with the Philippines right now. I just put out a community post with you guys that you should be seeing later on this evening. That looks like we had another encounter with a Filipino airplane and aircraft that was flying over their waters, and there was a helicopter that was part of the Chinese Coast Guard, I believe, that was flying dangerously close to them. And there's been so many disputes over water territory near the South China Sea next to the Philippines as well. So many tensions between the Philippines also, which is a huge ally to America. So, yeah, I mean, definitely we're starting to see the U.S. pull away from like a wartime stance, at least in some ways in terms of defense spending cuts. But do you think that this is like just the U.S. kind of just cutting wasteful spending, or do you think this has something to do with trying to avoid war, or so many different things could be coming from this topic here? And I'm curious to know what you're all thinking about this, but just wanted to let you know that the U.S. Pentagon is going to be making massive budget cuts over the next 5 years, what it looks like, according to Pete Hegseth, as he called on the Pentagon to do so today. So that's going to be it for today's update, though. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.